Yeah, really, we did. We really just
Right? Thing is, do you need to take the pizza out of the oven while we find ourselves?
yeah, really.
Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Hello. Cheers, Tracy.
Cheers. Thank you for joining us. So good.
My goodness. This Waterloo antique gin.
It's funny because Kristen, before we went on, she's like, "What size cup do you want today?" I'm like, "I gotta go with the big one."
This gin is so amazing, right? From Treaty Oak Distillery in Texas,
Good.
right? Dripping Springs, Texas. And wow, it is so flavorful. What are you doing today? Just
It's just gin and club with ice. That's all I did. I said it's so aromatic. It has such great flavor that I only put club in there because this is gonna be about 30 minutes long, and I try not to have to time out and go get a refill.
have another.
Have another. I said let me just go ahead and get something that I hopefully, fingers crossed, will make it through this session.
Not the bottle's right there.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, and then I won't dilute it.
And then I'm honestly just doing mine on the rocks. Like, so good.
It is.
Right.
It really is.
And
I'm kind of sad because I have not seen this bottle
anywhere else.
Yeah. And
That's why we had to go really sparingly. Like you're having a small little neat pour.
I had to pace myself, guys.
This is the last episode for this book.
No pacing.
So no holding back. Okay, cheers. Had to do it. Bottoms up, my friend. All right, guys. This is our third episode of Mindset.
Yeah, our last one.
Our last one for Mindset. Yeah, finishing out January.
So it works out great. I really love how we really dived into all about growth mindset, versus fixed mindset. And I think it was a great way to start the year, as we all should strive for growth mindsets, or at least acknowledge if we have a fixed one.
Right. Absolutely. And that's really how she wraps up the book. So we kind of broke the book into thirds. And this third part, she really digs into where do these fixed mindsets come from?
Yeah.
Right. And it starts honestly with us as parents or when we were children, right? And the things that our parents did in the name of love and encouragement.
Yes.
And then it turns into what things teachers do. And then it turns into things coaches and bosses and managers and owners of businesses, right? These things that we do that we think we're being super supportive.
Yeah.
Of our,
gosh, I go back and forth because there's no right formula. I understand that, but one of the things that Carol talks about in her book is, giving the encouragement, right? You're encouraging, you're giving, praise, and you're praising someone's efforts, and sometimes you really have to focus on, are you just praising them to praise them? Or are you actually doing anything constructive, right? Because you can praise effort. That's I always say, let's recognize effort, right? Because it's true.
Absolutely.
Effort's necessary.
Especially to perpetuate a growth mindset.
Yeah. Right? However, what do you follow up with after that? Because it just for the namesake of praise, it just can't be praise.
Right.
There has to be follow through on that. So.
Right. Yeah. And I like that because we are so quick, like our children come home with a great, grade on a test or a project. And we go to, oh, you're so smart. That's why you got that grade versus, wow, you put in so much study time.
Yeah.
You went back and fixed things when we found things that could have been neater or more in depth, right? She talks about praising really the process, not as much the effort, but she talks about the process of it, right?
And it's very true. Like you said, your child comes home and yes, they did get a good grade. So of course, acknowledging that they got a good grade, right? The kid scores a 100
gold star.
Yeah. And in sports, you got the goal. You go, of course, and you're going to go ahead and give all the accolades to the person who accomplished it. But it's like what you just talked about. What she said is the process of going through and saying, okay, you did it. and I acknowledge you did it, but I'm also congratulating you on the effort, the continuation, and the follow through on your effort to get to that.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I really try to internalize this chapter because I'm proud of my boys, and they're older teenagers now. So I'm even being more careful what I say to them, even in these later stages of teenage.
yes.
And, you know, when they come home and they show me their, you know, kind of midterm grades where they're at, I've been, instead of saying, look at how smart you are, look at you, you know, wow, all that study time you put in really paid off, right?
Yeah.
You giving up, not doing something with friends that one weekend to study, look at what, right? Celebrating that. But I'm also really trying to pull this into the workforce more because, you know, with Saige, that's who we, you know, that's who our client is, right? And now some of them are moms, but we're here to help them grow their business. So I'm looking at things through the lens of what do I say as an owner and as a business manager to my employees, right? When they have a really great business day, you know, is it that, wow, you guys are really awesome. Great job on great results yesterday. Or is it, wow, you worked really hard with every guest. You made sure all the product was available on the floor. You created exceptional experiences for customers that
all the effort.
And it's changing my verbiage.
Yeah. And I go through the similar thing in our business as well. You know, sometimes we finally hit a goal, you know, and when we hit the goal, we kind of reflect back and say, wow, I'm really proud of myself, or I admire this person, or I admire myself for following through on the effort and making tweaks here or there and doing various things to hit that goal. So it's not all about just hitting the goal. That's part of it, right? But really, the growth mindset is coming through and saying, hey, congratulations for all the effort processes, right? The processes and the effort and everything along with it to reach that goal.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then when you have a challenging day, like I think most businesses have KPIs they assess, right? So what one KPI can we celebrate, right?
Yeah.
And say, okay, well, we had a strong KPI here. This means that you did this effort, but this KPI was soft. Why do you think it was so soft?
Yep.
What could we have done different, right? And not, what were you doing yesterday? Coming out like the Wicked Witch of the West.
You learn through, you know, I don't like to use the word failure, right?
It's your opportunity.
Lessons. But you learn through those. And so, you know, congratulating the effort through learning with those, you know, that's another thing too. I use that on both of my boys when we have, you know, things they come across. I'll come in and just say, okay, you know, it's okay to get frustrated, but I congratulate you on the effort you took doing this particular project, or let's just say project. You did what you did for this particular project. What did we learn from this that maybe we can take to the next time we come across something like that?
Love that. And I got to do a plug for my good friend. I had her over last week. Hi, Charlene. Hi. You told me a story about your little girl wanting to bake cookies. Okay. And she didn't want to follow a recipe. Okay. And Charlene is an amazing manager and mother. And she, in empowering her daughter's creativity, said, okay, you don't want a recipe. What do you think will go in this? And they picked out, I think, flour, sugar, eggs, and chocolate chips.
Okay.
And so they stirred it together and they made it and they baked it. I guess Charlene's parents were over. So the grandparents were over, and the grandparents, you know, did what I think so many people do. Wow, great job. Charlene's like, those cookies were not good. And she was like, okay, well, what do you think of this cookie? Is this as good as you wanted it to be? And, you know, her daughter didn't think so. Okay, what do you think we could have done different? Right. And use that as a moment to honor that just because she did something, and she did something independently too. She didn't want a recipe. She wanted to think. Right. It was fun. But what I loved was that, you know, Charlene and I weren't even talking about this book. She was just sharing who she is as a person. And I just love that people think to, okay, what could we do better about this? Right. She wasn't in trouble. It wasn't considered a waste. Right. But I just thought that was so amazing. And
that was a good job, Charlene.
She's awesome. I'll introduce you guys to her and it'll be fun. But anyways, it's those things that we say to our employees and then our kids and even each other. My goodness, right?
Yeah, friends, family. Actually, there's a story, a recent story. You know, we passed the holidays, and so we had a family member that cooked a very traditional dish, and she made it a little bit different than how tradition dictates. And she got some really critical feedback on her dish.
Okay.
And not in the most constructive way, you know.
Painful.
And it was painful. She cried and everything, you know. It felt horrible because she was saying, out of the kindness of my heart, I went and I made this traditional dish. And this person gave some really harsh criticism. And so it was hard. It was hurt on her heart. But then the other part of it was like, okay, well, that whole scenario, well, take it in, but it is criticism. And so at that point, what do you do?
What do you do about it?
What do you do about it type of thing, you know?
They fine you?
No.
Are you going to, break down over this? Or are you going to rise to the challenge?
Yeah. Rise to the challenge and approve upon.
Love that.
Yeah.
Right. We see this so much in every day. And my goodness, I feel like I even lost my place in this. We just jumped on around and have another. Right. Happiness.
Kristen, please tell me, why are all the beans here?
Because it is carnival season.
Oh, I know. Your favorite time of the year.
It so is. So it started on 12th night, which was January 6th, King's Day.
Okay.
So, and it continues through to Fat Tuesday, which is known as Mardi Gras, and then begins the season of Lent leading up to Passover and then Easter and stuff like that. So because I love New Orleans, I've done so much research into this, and I love it. I like any reason to celebrate, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it really is. I got to make a pilgrimage over there with you.
We do.
I haven't
Totally
been.
too. Yes.
Yeah.
But these next few weeks, don't worry, I'll be pulling out all of my New Orleans dishes. I got some gumbo brewing, so yeah, it'll be good.
This girl knows how to cook, guys. I'm not kidding you. I look forward when she's I'm cooking. I'm like,
thank you. So happy carnival season.
Thank you. Happy carnival.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now back to where we were at before the pizzas had to rotate. So one of the things that got me as I was reading this chapter is because with my boys being in school, this thing started back when they were probably in first and second grade. So where are we, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where everybody got a gold star. Right? You get a gold star just for participating, right?
The participation award.
You showed up today. Gold star. And I think that does two bits of damage. One, it doesn't necessarily empower them to try hard. And two, the people who are really trying hard and competitive, it almost takes in my opinion, this is my opinion, it takes away from their effort, right?
Yeah.
There are times where my boys did not try hard for things, and I didn't want them to get a gold star from a teacher, but they still came home with one. And then that was just me. Like, come on, show up, show
I
big.
know, yeah. Show up, show big, and
Do your best.
And then you deserve the award.
Earn it, right? And so then I had to read far enough in, so I was starting to get a little like, what's this woman saying, right? I was like, Carol, come on now. But then she says, your standards still have to be high.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely. So here she's talking about praising the effort.
Yeah.
Right. And then she goes into really digging about, it's really praising the process, which we started off with.
Yeah.
But I love that she really highlights that your standards have to be high.
Yeah. And I agree, because if you keep lowering the standards, you can kind of create this, guys, don't shoot me, PC police over here. But you can actually handicap or lower the standards. And then what you end up doing is you start creating this false or inflated ego, right? Because it's
an entitlement.
Entitlement too. I participated, I'm entitled to something. Well, no, you've participated because you decided to participate in this event and you didn't win, so you don't get a prize. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who look differently on this, but what was it? Back in the 70s, they did research and they said, hey, we need to go ahead and start awarding and reinforcing good behavior and reinforcing all this. And I'm on the other side of the coin where I'm like, well, reinforce it kind of constructively,
right.
But you do it because it should be done, or that somebody earned it.
Somebody earned it.
Yeah. And now what ended up happening is we created an entire following that sometimes they feel they're entitled to something and they're not.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of our business owners are struggling with as they're trying to staff, is what to do with various generations because of their mindset, right?
Yeah.
So when we have this kind of younger generation that's coming into the workforce right now, and some of them have been gold stars for breathing, kind of thing, right? I've definitely seen it where they feel that they should get something just because of maybe they showed up. Like, oh, I came to work every day. That's great. I'm so glad that
I came to work on time. Or I stayed my entire shift, and it's like, well, that's kind of what you're paid to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I say this as a business owner, and you as well, and we've been in the industry for a while, and we say this with the utmost love. It's not anything against the generation. It's not your fault, guys.
No,
it really is not your fault. And we're learning how to work within the culture that is this new generation. However, it is a little bit difficult because where we come from the mindset of you're supposed to do that,
right? Right.
And you guys are coming to the mindset of, well, no, we don't have to do if we don't want to, and you're lucky if we do.
Right. So, and this is where I also love that Carol brings in that you can't just kind of show someone what to do and then wish them good luck. Like teachers, parents, business owners, and managers, when you set your people up for success, it's not just about, okay, well, you're going to be on the sales floor. I want you to make sure you greet every customer and sell them at least 4 items. Right, because we're maybe talking about the KPI units per transaction or something.
Yeah.
And just go. You need to teach them how to do it, because there is an art to building a relationship with the customer. Or in school, there's an art to digging deeper into literature and trying to understand what the author was really trying to say in their story or allegory or what have you. So it's not, your standards have to be high, and you need to set your student or your team or your child up for success and give them the tools and teach them and empower them that when something doesn't go right, it's okay. Right? So,
and it's funny because I think, I have this thing where I don't know if I got it from somewhere, if I came up with it, I don't remember, but
let's hear it.
It's set them up for success and not for failure, right? That's probably the only time I'll use that word, is set them up for success and not for failure. And that actually extends into everything that I think about and I do, when it comes to training, it's the same way. When we're training someone, I'm trying to set them up, even if it's hand holding or whatever, just making sure that I'm setting them up the most successful way in order for them to succeed. When it comes to parenting, the same thing, right? When it comes to analyzing a problem, we come across problems and concerns all the time. I always fall back and say, all right, did I successfully set someone up to successfully address this issue, or did I just throw them out to the wolves and then set them up for failure? Right. So going into that and leading and coming back to what we were talking about with the younger generation, I don't believe you guys had been set up for success. I think a lot of it, you guys are kind of thrown out to the wolves. So I really can't blame your generation for the way it's working out for you. That's why I say it's not your fault.
Right. And this next part of the book, I love that she digs in to kind of the different, addressing what is a false growth mindset.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people believe they have a growth mindset. And there are some people who think that just because they are flexible and open-minded, that means they're a growth mindset.
And I'm guilty of that. I'm 100% guilty, thinking well, yes, I'm good. Yes, well, you did such a good job. Yes.
Yeah. Right?
No.
That's not growth mindset.
That's not growth mindset.
Carol defines, and so we're talking about her book here, and I think in the end you find truly what you want to define as growth mindset. But I do very much align with hers that growth mindset means that you see that either yourself or those in your care are continually going through a development process. That is the true growth mindset, not someone being open-minded or flexible, like, well, okay, I will try this business approach. That doesn't necessarily mean their growth mindset. They could still have a fixed mindset because they could say, I will try it. But if they're like, that's never gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. If they already have it in their head, it's not
right.
gonna work.
Or if they don't believe that they could keep working at that new step until it works.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. And I see that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like we try a new initiative at work to try to boost KPIs different way. And they will do it because the boss says to, but they don't do it in a way to figure out how to make it work. They do it to prove that it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had that too with previous positions I've held. You know, they'll tell me I'll do it in my head. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't going to work. But what ends up happening is that attitude sticks with me when it comes to implementing that.
And then it won't work.
And then it doesn't work because I made it not work.
Yeah.
I manifested it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of goes back to our Think and Grow Rich book, which I love, right? It's all in, and even Atomic Habits. It's all in your mindset as you approach something and what you kind of speak into existence, what you claim. If you the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in a lot of these mindset books, you know, she claimed the title, but in a lot of these books that are all around, you know, altering your mindset, it's cyclical. It's repetitive. There is not repetitive. It's a common.
Well, she says it's an ongoing journey.
It is an ongoing journey, but they all kind of they have these basic foundations.
They all align.
And they all align. You know, it's the same 4 principles that kind of follow through each book. And so when you kind of go in and you think about, like you just said, you know, cycles and atomic habits, you're going to see that every book there is the same ones and
underlying message.
Yeah,
underlying message.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's the same underlying message.
Have another.
She's thinking, God, I'm starting to sweat.
Another false growth mindset is, and we kind of really dug into this, so I'll just acknowledge it as this part of her chapter here, is only praising the effort, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, we did. We skipped that one.
Yeah. So we've just, you worked so hard at that, right? And it's a great job. And it's almost the gold star for just showing up, right?
No.
But it's got to be where you're really praising the process and the high standards.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and then she wraps up by saying that whole you can do anything is another false.
I know, moms.
You can do it.
You can do it. We believe in you. Thomas the Train. Was it Thomas the Train? No.
I think I can. Yes, it was Thomas the Train.
Is it? Okay. Well, there you go. Thomas the Train. We all think we can do it.
The little engine that could.
Oh, okay.
Think I can. Right? It's easy to get the circus up the hill or something like that. Right?
That. Where was that?
Dumbo. We go. No, not another Dumbo. But so it's a good movie.
I'm all over it.
So, anyways, her last 2 chapters, and especially the very last one, she gives so many examples and scenarios, right? Like it's constant, like somebody's trying to get into college, somebody's trying to do better at a job, somebody's trying to do this in a sport, right? And it's just like example after example. And she almost phrases it as questions for like, how would you think about this? How would you approach this?
Yeah.
And it's really kind of a end of book test for you to assess where you're at with your mindset.
Okay. How'd you place?
I think I did pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an actual test where you add anything up, but you know, as you read it, imagine you're this and you get this response, you know, what do you say about that and things like that.
Okay.
But the way she truly wraps this up is she kind of helps you then figure out how to take yourself from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Because one of the things that I saw, and then she hits on it, so very good, story arc, and then into her true mission here is sometimes even though you operate your life as a growth mindset, there are certain triggers that will pull you back into a fixed mindset, right? And it could be maybe you just really have this fear of failure at work versus failure at home or failure, in a sport or something you're in.
Well, it's like that. What is it? You're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So she walks you through the steps to help you really pinpoint your fixed mindset and how to begin the journey of its growth. And the very first one is to embrace that you have a fixed mindset at a certain point with something, right? You may not always, right? Like, I feel like Kevin and I have very much a growth mindset with our relationship. And I truly believe I have a growth mindset with my children as well. But I can see in parts of business how I've had a fixed mindset because I put my identity into the success of a business plan or anything I'm responsible for. And if something doesn't go right, right? So she says, first embrace that you have that, and then kind of give it a persona.
Okay.
Right? So this fixed mindset comes out when this happens, and really acknowledge why it comes out. And this part I love. Step 3 is give your fixed persona a name. You have some fun names in there. But then what you can begin to do is make light of something that you're taking honestly way too seriously. My mom used to call this her time of the month, right? When she got her period, right? That's when George is visiting. And,
she was going to turn into...
right? Various things we women go through. Absolutely. And it was always George's fault. So, George...
I took a page out of that.
So, George is visiting. Oh, George. And everything was George's fault. So, I mean, make sure you pick a name of someone that...
Little Red Riding Hood.
Well, there you go. Big bad wolf. Anyway, but give this fixed mindset a persona and give it a name, and then begin to take that persona, call him or her by name on the journey.
I like that.
Growth.
I like that.
I'm like, what a great way to wrap up this book, right? Because she gives all these examples of people who were successful because of a growth mindset and people who were held back because of a fixed mindset. And then she shows you really where those growth and fixed mindsets originate from, and the dangers of too much, not too much encouragement, but the wrong type of encouragement.
And I like how you said that, not too much. I don't think there's ever too much.
No.
But there could be
a wrong type.
Yeah, something that's a little unbridled and a little unstructured.
Right.
So that affects.
Right. And thinking back to my friend Charlene, right? The grandparents were like, hey, horrible cookies, but you did great. Charlene's like, these cookies are not good. What are we going to do different, right?
It kind of reminds me of like American Idol. Have you guys ever watched American Idol? There's these people that go around like, these poor souls surrounded themselves with everyone who told them, you're great. And then they come on and Simon's like,
that was bloody awful.
How was that awful? Your family doesn't love you. I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh.
I probably was one of them. I could have been. I mean, I didn't really
make a judge.
No. I would have been horrible, I think.
I should have been like the Simon. Job trying. Or would you have been like Simon, like?
No, I probably would have just buzzed them out so we could. They didn't have to hear Simon.
Oh my goodness.
I would have been compassionate.
I don't know. Put him out of misery.
Yeah. Security.
So overall, such a great book for January, right? A lot of us come into the new year and really wanting to assess, what do I need to do better in my, home, relationships. And this book definitely takes you on that journey.
I love it too. I think the sequence that we followed so far, so, begins with why. Simon Sinek's begins why, because everything starts with why, right? And then going into Atomic Habits, take your why and now put it into action. Here you go. You got to set up a book that's going to help you formulate little habits to achieve your goals, turn into big habits to achieve your goals. And then this one really dives into your mindset, because a lot of times you go through life and you always hear glass half full, half empty. Well, this can actually be the same way if you really think about it. If you have your fixed mindset, sometimes depending on how your fixed mindset is, the glass can be empty, right? And it cannot be full because you are fixed that sucker is half empty, right? Mm-hmm. However, if you go with a growth mindset, now the possibility of it being full is actually there. And depending on you, whether or not you want it to make it happen, it can become full.
100%.
Yeah. So
that.
I think it was a great book. And so the next book that we're leading you on, actually, let's see if we can.
It's here. E-Myth.
E-Myth.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Read this one a couple times.
It's a great book, isn't it?
It's eye-opening.
It is an eye-opening book. And so I could give you a little synopsis now. Did I? No, I'm not. You'll just have to plug in for it. You'll just have to log into the next episode to go ahead and follow us and see what E-Myth was all about, right? Yeah.
All right. Well, cheers. Thank you for joining us. So, I mean,
Wait, tagline.
there it is. Grab a good book, get some great booze, and grab a good buddy to share it with. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Bye. Like and subscribe. We are trying to grow this channel, trying to get out there, and just giving us some feedback would be so helpful. And if you need more support with your business, Saige Consultants is here for you. Cheers.
To the next one, guys. Bye.